alaikum internet, my name is Rabbi Sandra Gajzinski, and here is the weekly Torah Bite. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Vayakhel, which means "and he gathered." Moshe here is gathering the Jewish people in order to relay to them the message that God gave him as to how to build the tabernacle. And the rest of the parsha is primarily devoted to telling over how the Jewish people followed through on Moshe's instructions and built the tabernacle to the exact specifications that God had given. However, Moshe prefaces his instructions on the tabernacle by stating, "Sheishet yamim te'aseh melacha, uvayom hashvi'i yeh lachem kodesh, Shabbat Shabbaton Hashem." 6 days a week shall work be done, and on the seventh day shall be holy, a Shabbat unto God. And the juxtaposition over there teaches the rabbis, as they relate in the Talmud, that what it is that is prohibited on the day of Shabbat, the work and the creative production that is prohibited on Shabbat, is all the things that are done in order to create a fashion and serve in the tabernacle. In other words, that the message is that Moshe is saying, you will be building a tabernacle and doing all these things, but let me first state that you will be doing that for 6 days, and on the seventh day, which is Shabbat, you shall rest. But it is interesting to note the word that Moshe uses when he's saying 6 days a week, you shall work. He doesn't say 6 days a week, ta'aseh melacha, you shall do work. Rather, he says, sheishet yamim te'aseh melacha, work shall be done, almost in a passive sense. And this teaches us a very important message and lesson in life. 6 days a week, in fact, we do go out into the world and we do work, because that is what God wants from us. He doesn't want us, in a certain sense, to remain angels on earth, disconnected from the world, not getting involved, not doing any type of livelihood, and just spending a whole entire day praying and davening and learning and involved in almost monk-like spiritual pursuits. Rather, 6 days a week, you shall be involved in the world. But the way you are involved in the world is in a passive way, because your focus primarily is on more spiritual things, is on more important things. When you're out there in the work week and you're doing what you need to do, it's because it needs to be done, not because that is your entire focus and drive and commitment is on your work, but rather you are working to live and working to achieve purpose, not living to work. Your purpose is not work. You're working for your purpose. And we all know and can understand what the important message is in our day-to-day lives. We all know somebody, if it's not ourselves, that are so consumed by our work and what it is that is our 9 to 5, that sometimes stretches beyond 9 to 5 and ends up consuming 24/7. That this becomes our primary focus in life, and we forget what it's all about. We forget that when we're working just to enable us to be able to spend time with our family, purchase what we need, etc., focus on our spirituality. And instead, work becomes what it's all about. And so we neglect time with our family, we neglect time with our own soul, we neglect time with spiritual and even physical well-being because we are too busy working, and that becomes our entire focus. Says the Torah portion, a very important paradigm is that the way you should approach your work is that your work shall be done. It is important that work gets done, but not that you shall work, not that that becomes your whole focus. Be focused on making sure the work gets done, but don't be focused completely on the work. Focus on what the work is achieving, what it is enabling you to do, what are the more important priorities in your life. And that is why we have the day of Shabbat. 1 day a week, we stop whatever it is that we are otherwise doing. Not because we need a break and a rest from a vacation from our toil and troubles, etc., to sit back with a lemonade and relax. But rather a day to once again remind us and center us on what this is all about. So by unplugging for 1 day out of the week, we can remind ourselves that it's not about working. It's about more important things. It's about spending time with family. It's about cultivating your own spiritual core. And it's about making the world around you a better place. So you don't have to go too far into this Torah portion to find a very important life lesson. Right away at the very beginning, at the outset, Moshe teaches us a lesson that if we all took it to heart, we all know that we'd be living a better, more wholesome, more stronger relations life. So I wish you a wonderful Shabbos, and use the Shabbos to once again remind yourself what the priorities are, what life is all about. And when you go back into the work week, make sure work gets done. But make sure as the work is getting done, you're primarily focused on the more important things in life. Shabbat Shalom.